Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole. So, I'm just getting up and around, and the boys are going to get donuts this morning, and there's these things they call kolachkis. They're like these sausage, like wrapped in like a biscuit. It's so good. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already taken a second to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe down below. We do a lot of like recovery support, story times, just accountability live streams, just support all around over here on this channel. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That helps get my videos kind of circulated and maybe recommended to other people who are searching about addiction or recovery. And click the bell notification so that way whenever I upload, it'll send you a message. So, last night we had a really good stream. Met some new people that are new to the channel. And so I wanted to shout out these four walls, Jason, because he just came over and he is taking a leap of faith. He's going to go to his doctor on Tuesday and open up to his doctor about his painkiller addiction. So that's a huge step in the right direction, and hopefully he can, get that situated, and whatever he decides to do, we're going to be here to support him and help him through that process. Okay, guys? But if you or anybody you know is going through some kind of struggle with painkiller addiction, hey, what's up, Byron? Let them know about my channel and tell them to come on over. Each time I do a live stream, you guys, it's growing. More people are coming and taking and participating. And oh, thanks, baby. What's this? Hallmark cards. Thank you, baby. More people are participating in the live streams, and so that makes it like a lot of fun. It's my name badge for work, you guys. So, yay, I got my own name badge now. Cool, I'm a professional. Terrible picture, but whatever. Probably should have worn my hair down. Anyway. So last night I asked you guys to comment your sobriety dates. And listen, you guys, I know some of you guys follow my channel and you're not addicted to drugs, but you also have other like addictions in your life. So whether it be, listen, I'm going to keep it real. Porn addiction, food addiction. Hey, Sam. Good morning, sister. Whatever your vice is, the day you got sober from that vice, comment it down below so I can write your name and the date in my calendar. So that way when your day comes up, we can celebrate it, okay? I am working on something with a lady on how to like make this all happen, like on an application that we can all like join. Wouldn't that be so cool? But I don't know. Anyway, so what I was thinking we could do this morning was, you guys, hey Sam, what's your sobriety date? I need to put it in my calendar. Hey Byron, okay. Byron, have you been cutting back? Because if you have, we can help you stay on your food. We can help you with your food addiction. You know what addiction I have? Sugar. Lord, I woke up in the middle of the night eating those. So that's the thing, like, we all have something we struggle with, and just because you might not have a drug addiction doesn't mean you don't need help or need support. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support you guys in your sugar is my other addiction, and my sugar is still coming. So is mine, girl. I have it even February 1st, 2016. Okay, good girl. Sam W 2/1/16. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is going to be so good. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. At the first Thursday of every month, I'm really going to have to start keeping a calendar. Aloha family. I'm feeling tripolar over last year. Mahalo. Sis, I found this channel in the nick of time. Hey girl, hey. So, it's 35 degrees outside, y'all. It's cold. It's cold. And I'm tripping. But that's okay. We're going to get through it. I'm still in my... I sleep in this hoodie at night because it's so warm. But you know what I remember? Let's go back. Let's take it back to addiction days. Let's talk about how it used to be when I was in my addiction. I remember when I was we lived in this trailer. It's way before I met Neil. Me and Neil, we didn't go down this far. Oh, Frank, I'm sorry, honey. That's because your anxiety, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the times what they'll do is they'll give you some kind of like anti-anxiety medication to calm it down a little bit while you're going through withdrawal. So, what I was going to tell you guys was, so here's a blessing. So it's cold outside, right? Back in the day when I was in my addiction, I lived in this trailer, y'all. No running water, no heat, nothing. We had flashlights. We had to go outside and dig holes to poop. So today I'm thanking my higher power because I'm warm. I got a house to sleep in at night. I got my man to cuddle up to and keep me warm, and I have my son, you know. Good job, Frank. I'm glad you're here too. You know, when we're going through our struggles, one of the greatest advices that has ever been suggested to me, and I know it might be hard, you guys, but waking up in gratitude. Frank, if you're struggling right now, here's an idea. You could wake up right now and be grateful that you are able to feel those withdrawals. Be grateful that you have a home that you're safe inside of, that you have people who care about you, and you also have the support system here. What happens when we are like going through it, a lot of the times, I know for me, I will get in such a headspace where I'm just like feeling so bad about my life. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to you guys yesterday about kind of looking at my life and saying, I'm 36 and I'm just now getting to where I'm at, you know? But if I look at life that way, like if I look at it as I missed out on everything, instead of looking at it from the side of the cup, like, hey, I have so much more I can accomplish. If I look at it from the bad perspective, then I'm going to have it's going to be a hard time. But I'm telling you, Frank, push through this day. This is going to be a hard day. You're going to be tempted. Okay? This is when the temptation is going to come. The temptation is going to come to take more, or to go get some, or to call a friend. And this is where you got to grip down and say, no, I'm not. Like, I've got to stay on this taper, and I do not want to go backwards. You know, this is when you need your support system the most, when you're going through this time right now. So I'm telling you, you can do this, and your life is going to be so much better after you get all this crap out of you. You're going to have your family. I mean, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. You want to be with your family, be able to eat some good food. So I wanted to talk with you guys and read out of this book. It's called The 12 and 12. And I don't know if you guys have ever read it out of it before, but I'm going to talk to you guys about step 1 today, because we got Frank and we got Jason, who are both basically taking their first step. We admitted we were powerless over drugs and alcohol, and that our lives had become unmanageable. So here we go. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand or pill in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking or destructive using or destructive thinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Alcohol or opiates or cocaine or crack now become the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns is complete. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. You heard that? So, if you're at your rock, I mean, I'm talking like right now you're feeling like, I'm throwing in the towel. Heroin, I can't take it anymore. I don't want to be your bitch. Pain pills, I can't take it anymore. I don't want you to run my life. I don't want to obsess about you. I don't want you to be my God. I want to live today. And so when we get to that point where we're just like groveling, desperate, wanting a way out, that's the best way to be. It says it right here. It says, we perceive that only through utter defeat we are able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. So we got to get our asses kicked, y'all, by drugs and alcohol before we will even start to try and make a change. And I feel like what happens, or I know what happened to me, was I would relapse because I had my ass kicked a long time ago, you guys. But what would happen is I would get sober and I'd start feeling good, get my groove back, getting a job, making some money, and I would forget. I would forget how horrible it was, how sad and sick and shitty I felt, and I would go back to the drugs. I would say, let's just have one more dance. One more shot. Get into my body. And then I would regret it almost immediately afterward, you guys, because the high is never enough. It never blocks out all the pain that I want it to. It never does for me what it used to. If you have been addicted to opiates for a long time, there's never enough to get that feeling that we used to get. Can I get an amen? I would have to mix all kinds of substances, y'all, to damn near kill myself and knock myself out before I would feel like I had reached that high I wanted, So, if you're feeling like, oh God, I'm at the end of my rope, I can't do this anymore, or if you're feeling like ashamed or mad at yourself or embarrassed, do not feel like that. This is right where you need to be. You're right where you need to be. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. This is where we have to get. It happens for every addict, only at different times. We all reach the end of that rope, and there ain't a knot tied down there anymore. So our hands are just burning down the rope. Smash on the asphalt. But that's where we got to go, you guys. We have to get to that point where it's like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I want more for my life. And that's the thing. I felt like I didn't deserve more. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you guys ever feel like that? Like you're not enough. And like, I almost felt like I was always like trying to catch up with everybody else, and drugs made me feel like I was kind of keeping up. Good morning, Derek. Hey, bud. But I was actually so far behind. And what I've learned now in recovery is that I want more for my life. I want to cherish myself. And, it was hard, you guys, because I didn't love myself. no one who loves themselves is going to take drugs until they overdose and die. Nobody who loves themselves and has self-esteem and self-worth is going to shoot drugs into their veins. Nobody who has self-esteem and self-worth and self-love is going to doctor shop and go around from doctor to doctor to get pain pills or steal prescriptions and write them. We are lost souls when we are in our addiction. We are without love for ourselves. And through working this program and connecting with other people in recovery, I have learned how to love myself. Now, there's days where I don't love myself and I think, what is this all for? Why am I even doing this? I'll get discouraged. I'll think I'm not doing enough or things aren't happening fast enough. But that happens, you guys. And that's what I've learned is that's life. That's life on life's terms. And I've also learned that even though I'm sober, somebody posted it today on Facebook. They said, I've been clean and sober for 7 months. And he said, you know how I feel? Like getting high. And I was like, yes, because that feeling doesn't go away, you guys, or it hasn't for me. The obsession goes away, but I still think about drugs. I'm a drug addict, Hey, girl, Anna and Ronnie here. Hey, you guys. I couldn't agree more. I heard a great quote today, Brock Bottom. Teaches you lessons that mountaintops never will. Yes, and that's, okay, so sometimes people ask me, like, Nicole, why did you go, like, why didn't you stop, back when you were 23 and you got your charge? Because when I was like 23 or 24, I got a felony charge, you guys. I went to prison over it for having drugs in my car. And I came out, stayed sober for about 9 months, and then relapsed. You guys know the story. And people will ask me, like, why didn't you stop then? And I'm telling you right now, you guys, and I truly believe this, I had to go through every negative experience with drugs and alcohol. I had to go through getting a charge and going to prison. I had to go through getting raped while I was high. I had to go through losing my son to DHS. I had to do all that, in order to get to this place where I'm at today, where I'm willing to accept suggestions and to actively work on my recovery and change. Y'all, I'm not perfect. Like, okay, Ronnie and Anna, I'm so proud of you guys. I have to have help. I've been on Suboxone for 3 years, and it really has helped me a lot, balanced me out. I don't have cravings for opiates, but I was a poly substance abuser. So, I was addicted to shooting meth and cocaine and taking Xanaxes all the day long and alcohol. So where that Suboxone doesn't fix everything, you know what I mean? Like, it helps with the opiate cravings, but that's about it. Everything else is hard work. That's why I come on here and I talk to you guys and I tell you, like, I think about Xanax a lot because I'm a mom. I got stresses in my life. It's Christmas time. There's not enough money. I want to buy everything for my kid and I can't. And every now and then this fleeting thought will come into my mind, like it would be a good idea to take a Xanax bar. And back in the day, I would have acted on that thought. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I would have said, well, you know what, girl, let's go get one. But now it's like I've trained, and I'm going to tell you guys this, I've trained my brain to think through that thought and to also tell on myself. Secrets keep us sick. And when we think we're fooling somebody, that's when our addiction takes hold the most. Because addiction likes isolations and secrets. It's hard work to think through those thoughts. It's practicing every day, holding myself accountable. Now, I haven't shared this with you guys, but I'm going to share it with you now. My husband struggles with his sobriety. Um, he is actually in treatment right now. And it's been hard. It's really hard because I really love him very much and I want him to be sober. And I want him to get it. And I want him to love himself and want more for himself. I've used my son as a motivation to stay sober. That's what helps me stay sober. And, you know, the thing about it with him is he'll slip up on, like, damn Xanax. Just like, okay, and that's the thing, you guys, like, I told him, I said, don't you think I would love to take a Xanax and check out of life every now and then? And he knows not to come home when he does it, y'all. He hides out. Goes to work and stays at work all day. It's just difficult, you know, and his job is aware of it. They're actually the ones who told him, you know, you need to get involved in intensive outpatient. So that's what he does Monday through Thursday, y'all. He's in classes from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. And I know he'll get it. Like, I hate talking about this because it's personal, you know. But he was sober for 2 years. I've been sober for 3 years. He stayed sober for 2 years, and his dad passed away, and he relapsed. And his dad was everything to him. And when he passed away, he didn't know what to do. And I didn't know, that he was struggling that badly because I'm over here, you know, we live together and everything, and I work and he works, but I'm over here in my own recovery world. Like, I'm trying to stay sober, you know, and so I guess I just didn't realize how he was struggling. And so he took benzos when that happened, but then he got right back on track. And he stayed sober all the way up until like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he took benzos again. And I mean, it's not the end of the world, you know. It's one time he did it, but I don't want to minimize it because it is a big deal. Because he is also prescribed Suboxone, and when you mix those together, y'all, it can kill you. Because you can overdose. So it worries me because I think, well, what if he just, you know, takes one and I don't know, and he goes to sleep and then he doesn't wake up? In the hospital, yeah. I'm so sorry. You know, and I'm sorry that for any of you guys that are struggling with the same thing. When we are in a relationship with another addict, you know, me and Neil have been together for 7 years. I love him so much. He's my best friend. We got sober together, you know. And I know that, here's the thing, guys. I know that relapse is a part of a lot of people's stories, you know. But I also know that we don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, Neil has to learn new coping skills. He has to learn that when he's stressed out, he needs to come home and say, I'm stressed out. I've worked too many hours. I need a hot shower. I need you to rub me down. Do you know what I'm saying, guys? And that's the thing, like, for men, I feel like it's a lot harder to talk about how you feel. And so I'm always like, talk to me. Let me know how you're feeling. I'm here for you. And that's why I try, when I tell you guys, like, especially you men, find a guy who has been sober longer than you and confide in him and talk with him about how you're feeling. Because you guys have got to talk, you know, about what you're going through. And that's the thing, Anna and Ronnie. My number one priority is my recovery and my son. Those things are neck and neck tied. So my number one is to protect my son. So that's what I do, you know. But the problem with it is, you guys, is the medicine that he takes is prescribed to him. So just like Jason is doing the next week, Neil had to talk to his doctor and say, hey, I need you to take these pills, because when I take them not because of my anxiety, but I take them to feel differently. And that was a huge step, because the first time he took them and kind of, you know, had a lapse in his judgment, he kept them and didn't say anything. So this time he got honest, and that's a huge accomplishment. So I know he wants to be sober, you guys. I know he wants to. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, guys, press the thumbs up so that way we can get other people in here. If you're struggling and you have a loved one who is in their addiction still, or struggling the fence, you know, riding the fence, going back and forth, if you guys want me to talk more about like enabling and what I do to hold him accountable, let me know, because I will. I have learned with Neil, it's really important for me to walk my walk and let him walk his separate walk in recovery, because he feels overshadowed by me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very excited about my recovery, and I have bad days. I'm not always happy, you guys. Am I happy to be alive? Yeah. Like, I was dying when I was in my addiction, you guys. I was sick. So I guess that comes across in my excitement for life, you know? And my daughter. And that's the thing, when we go to our doctors, and that's the best thing you can do, because your doctor is going to be able to say, you know what? All right, we're going to taper you off these, and we're going to start you on this. And it's just, you'll be so happy that you let him know that you kind of, you know, gotten addicted to those pills. I mean, Jason, there was no way you weren't going to get addicted to them. If you have the disease of addiction in you, and you take pills, you know, and they're prescribed to you, dependency is different. Like, you can be dependent on your medication and not have an addiction. You can take them as prescribed and not ever run out. But what happens is, when we cross that line over into addiction, we start running out of our prescription early. We start buying them off the streets, maybe even calling in for early refills, maybe calling and reporting them stolen so we can get another refill. I've done that so many times. And that's how you know switching over from dependency into addiction. Okay. There are signs, there are warning signs. So that's why whenever we're talking, and those of us that are on Suboxone, and you're like, well, I don't know if I can say I'm sober. You guys, like, if you're taking your Suboxone as prescribed, you're not running out of it. You're not taking it to cope with your feelings, and you're doing your therapy and other things to stay sober, you are absolutely in recovery. You're just dependent on your medication, just like I'm dependent on my Lexapro and my Wellbutrin for my mental health. Dependency, there's no negative connotation to dependency. You know what I mean? Worker and my daughter. Okay, there we go. Oh, Sandra, yes, girl, get that. What are you doing now? You better go on and do what you need to do now. Do you really, Makila? How do you like it? I have been taking it for about 6 months, And it really has helped me so much. The Lexapro just stopped doing its job. I'm actually tapering off the Lexapro. I'm down to 5 milligrams now because it just stopped working. But I feel like the Wellbutrin, when I take it in the morning, I feel like I take it and like 10 minutes later, I actually feel like it starts kicking in, because I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but like I have to go to the bathroom every morning after I take it. Like, number two. Sorry, too much information. So, but the doctor also prescribed it to me because I've been struggling with my weight. And when you get on Suboxone, you guys, and you've been on it for like a extended period of time, I think what happens is like your body, I know that gaining weight is a side effect of it, and I have experienced that. But my husband's been on it for the same amount of time, and he doesn't have any experience with weight gain. Like, he stays trim and fit, So it's just our bodies are all different, Yeah, I think so too. So let's talk about loving someone who has an addiction and how to go through that with them. So Frank, I'm gonna take it now. Let me know if I'm speaking out of turn. But do you have a loved one, an old lady, a girlfriend who is in addiction too, and she's trying to get sober too? Or, because let me share with you my experience on that. So, and I was about your age whenever I first started dating a guy named LD. He's dead now, so I'm gonna say his name. We were both active in our addiction together, and we both tried to get sober together many, many times. But when we met, we both had a really, really bad addiction to methamphetamine. Methamphetamine and methadone. We were taking methadone not as it was prescribed, like taking it to get high. And we would try and stop. And what we would do is I would get sober and then he would get sober. And then what would happen is one of us would want to use. And so the other one would co-sign the other one's want to use, and we would relapse together. Hey, Jordan. A lot of the times what we have to do with the addicted loved one is we have to separate our recovery from their recovery. Like, I really work hard on not overshadowing Neil with my recovery, because I want to be a light. Like, I want him to see me happy about being sober, and maybe he'll want to do the same. You know what I mean? Like, as a good example. But the number one thing that happens, I know that my sponsor was telling me that she was holding me accountable, was that I was enabling him at first by allowing him to come home when he would be like that. So what I had to start doing was I had to start putting my foot down and saying, if you're under the influence, you can't come home. You have to stay at your mom's. And so that was the first step of me putting my foot down. Now, it didn't take me very much longer. Neil's real smart, and he wants to be clean. So he, like, when I say relapse, you guys, I mean, like, he went out for 1 day and then came right back. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't stay out for weeks on end. And when I say went back out, I mean he took a pill. So that I'm very blessed, because he comes right back. I'm going through major menopause also. I feel bad a lot, but DTing from opiates, yeah. And so let me tell you some other stuff about addicts in recovery and being with one. What I've learned with Neil, is that, like, what works for me and how I get on here and I like talking and processing my feelings, that's not going to work for everyone. Not everybody is going to be as vocal about their recovery as I am. And my husband is the exact opposite as I am. He's very shy with his recovery. He feels like if he lets people know that he's an addict in recovery, they will judge him. And he isn't willing to tell anybody. And I feel like, but what he's learned now is through the last 3 years, not telling anybody and not really getting connected to somebody, he's learned that he's got to let someone know. He's got to open up to at least one person, because that shame and that guilt that's connected to being an addict is unhealthy. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no reason to feel ashamed or guilty that you're struggling with sobriety. we're addicts. That's like what we do. You know what I mean? Like, it would almost be like telling a dog not to bark. I'm serious, you guys. Because what it is it's habit. It's second nature to us to go back and forth and get sober. And so that doesn't make an excuse, but don't be mad at yourself for it, you know? And then, okay, Jason, I figured you felt the same way because I could tell by watching your video. My husband's a ginger too. You're a ginger, right? That's because, let me guess, your family raised you to keep secrets. Let me tell you how Neil's family raised him. You don't tell anybody what's going on. If they find out, they'll judge you. Sorry, this candy's good. That's how Neil's mom raised him, is to be ashamed and embarrassed of any kind of mishap or anything. It could be getting a traffic ticket. Shh, don't tell anybody. When Neil's dad was alive, he's an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic, okay? Sorry, I had to plug my phone in. And instead of like, you don't have to go around screaming it to the world, but like when he was on his deathbed, the doctor was asking, did Al smoke cigarettes? And Neil's mom was still trying to lie and tell him no. And I said, Barb, he's on his deathbed. We have to be honest. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But when you're raised up, it's okay, girl. When you're raised up by your family to feel ashamed, to be embarrassed, because maybe you struggle with a certain area of life, there's a reason why we're human and we're on this earth, you guys. It's to have connections with each other and help each other. If we all knew how to do everything and we're all perfect, what kind of world would that be? It would be weird, you know? We all are different, and it's okay to not be perfect. But when you're raised from a very small age to be taught to be secretive and to be embarrassed of any kind of shortcomings or character defects, that's how, this phone is like literally gonna die. Okay, that's how he was raised, and so I'm serious, you guys. Like when we go out to eat, if I'm talking too loud, his mom will be like, shh. And I'm like, Barb, I'm a grown woman. Stop shushing me. You know, like, my son is 4 years old, and he does this thing where he twirls his hair when he's falling asleep. And when he's tired, it's a way that he soothes himself. It's a self-soothing mechanism. For the longest time, she would tell him to stop because the kids at school would make fun of him. And I had to tell her, stop saying that to him. This is a good thing that he's doing because he's self-soothing. That is a sign of a healthy child. A child who can calm themselves down and soothe themselves when they're upset or having anxiety, that's good. That's good. That's what you want. Just like when babies are little and they're in the crib and you let them cry for a little bit because they learn how to soothe themselves. Maybe they suck their thumb. Maybe they suck the passy. Maybe they rock back and forth, whatever. That's a sign of a healthy child. And I feel like a lot of us, when we were growing up, we probably weren't very good at doing that. And that's why we reached out for other things when we got older. But what happens in these families, in the family of an addict, is a lot of the times, the addict will be the main focus. For a while with my family, I had to relapse after a while. Just didn't care who knew or found out what's going on. The inside comes out eventually. It sure does come out eventually. In the family unit, a lot of the times what will happen is the addict will be the main focus of the family. And so everybody will be in like fix-it mode when the addict is struggling, you know. But then when the addict is doing well and gets sober, then the rest of the family doesn't know how to act. When me and Neil got sober, his mom didn't know what to do with herself. She would show up at our house unannounced, call all the time. because she's codependent. And without us being sick, she didn't know what to do. A lot of you may go through that same thing with your families when you get sober. Because when we're sick, it gives them something to do. You hear me? But that don't mean we need to stay sick. That means they need to find something else to do. The best thing that your family members can do for you is get involved in Al-Anon. Al-Anon teaches loved ones of addicts and alcoholics to be independent, not codependent, to stop enabling, to break away and detach from the addict with love, and let the addict have their own adventure in recovery or whatever they're doing, you know. If you're in a relationship and you have somebody that's using, you know, in your life right now, and I know a couple of you commented and said that you did, like, I want to encourage you to hold them accountable, and I promise you it's going to be hard, but if you can start holding them accountable and putting some stipulations in line, like if you're going to be at home and around here, you can't be under the influence, then what will happen is they're going to have to make changes, and eventually they'll get to a point where they're going to go, you know what, I want to get help. Because what happened to me was my family was enabling me. You know what they did? They kicked me out. They kicked me out of the house about, I think I was 18, and I didn't get sober until I turned 32, y'all. I lived from house to house hopping, jumping couches, all that kind of stuff. But what it did was it made me realize, like, I can't go around them. You know, they're not going to enable me. They're not going to help me. They're not going to give me money. They're not going to give me a ride to get the drugs or any of those things, you know? And so if you want to break away from someone who is dragging you down in their addiction or causing you heartache and chaos, I'm telling you right now, stop enabling them. Hold them accountable if you can. If they live with you, set up some rules and regulations. Like, I will never tell anybody to kick anybody out, because when you love someone, that's the hardest thing to do. But if you can set up some rules, like, hey, you can't be coming over here high. You got to be sober when you come over to this house. You know, then that might help with the heartache, you know, and maybe that will encourage them or push them to get sober, you know, and through seeing you sober, that will also help them. But that's what we have to do, you guys. We have to start holding our loved ones accountable, and it's gonna be hard, but we can do it. But so the worst thing we can do is let them come around us high and let them use in our houses. I'm telling you right now, once you cross over that boundary with someone you love that has an addiction, they will take advantage and you will never be able to get them out. You've got to stand your ground, okay? And I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about, so we just talked about rock bottom and how it's the foundation that we build our recovery on. I convinced my loved ones. And that's the thing, Jason, it's like we need accountability. As human beings, we have to have stability and some kind of like plan. It helps a lot, and you will thrive. When you start, okay, if you're struggling and you have, okay, so if you're a pain pill addict, you probably have like a system where you wake up in the morning and you take this number of pain pills. And then by this time, maybe noon, you take more. And so you have like a system, just like you had a system in your addiction to pain pills, you need to have a system for your recovery. So if you're going to wake up in the morning, wake up do your meditation. Get yourself a daily meditation book, 24-hour a day AA book, amazing, has awesome recovery-related meditations inside of it. Read those in the morning. Read one in the morning. Say your prayers. All you got to do is say, hey, big guy in the sky, help me stay sober today. Guide me in my life. See ya. And that's it. Nothing special. Just help me stay sober today. Okay? And then you need to have a schedule of what you're going to do, because you need to fill your time. Because what happens is, what do they say? Idle hands are the devil's playground. So when our minds are just wandering and we have all this free time, that gives our minds more opportunity to drift off into, I need to pill land. So keep your days filled up with positive things to do. Hit a meeting. Get on YouTube and connect. But when you're on YouTube, don't just aimlessly surf and watch. Try to get on a live stream where you're interacting with other people, where you're talking with people, where they know, hey, Jason's here, and they're holding you accountable also. Yeah, and Derek, that's the thing, like, reach out to someone, especially in our group right here. There's lots of us who will help you stay accountable with your addiction. And don't be ashamed. A lot of men struggle with that same addiction. And Jason, like, that's what I had to do, was I had to get myself like focused in that frame. Like, okay, this is going to be the sober life, because for the longest time I lived the high life, and it's like hard to retrain yourself into a different state of, a different reality, because this is going to change your whole life. I think you said you were going to switch over to get weaned over to Suboxone. It's going to change your life. When you take Suboxone, you're not going to feel high. You're not going to get that euphoria. Once you're on it for a couple days, it's going to level out in your system, and you're going to just be like regular, And so what's going to happen, and this is what happened to me, but it happened to me. You might start thinking like, oh, well, I need to feel differently, And so that's why you need to reach out, get connected with some people, maybe start going to some meetings. It don't matter what meetings you go to. AA, NA, Celebrate Recovery. There's even this thing called Smart Recovery. You can Google it. There's meetings online at www.intherooms.com. There's all kinds of support groups now for addiction. And it's really, really important to get yourself connected and start focusing on a plan for each day and a schedule. And when my counselor was like, oh, you need to schedule the hours out in the day, I thought that was so lame. I was like, girl, it's not that bad. I can handle it. It really is that bad. My mind was so focused on using all the time that I had to schedule out every hour of my day to keep myself busy, to keep myself from thinking about using. Okay, girl, I'm writing it down. 808-2498. That's everybody. Sandra just left her number in the comments if y'all want to give her a call. 808-249-8539. So start planning your days out and getting yourself like focused on ways to grow and get connected with one person in recovery that you can talk to every single day. And I'm going to tell you this right now, like, you can even ask Rock and Roberta, like, working the 12 steps will change your life. And connecting with somebody who takes you through the 12 steps will help you in your recovery. But let's just focus on today. Let's focus on getting our days scheduled and trying to fill those blank spots and working on those cravings, because that's what you're going to go through at the beginning, is you're going to be like, ah. So try to fill your days and reach out. Never feel ashamed. If you're struggling, if you feel like using, message me on Instagram. Message any of us. We all are here to help each other. And that's the thing. There's no shame, you guys. So I really enjoyed talking with y'all. I'm going to get off here. The boys just got back. I'm going to go downstairs and eat with them. I just hope you guys have a good morning. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for taking part in this live stream and participating with me. And I will see you guys later on this afternoon.